The story begins with John Smith, a construction executive, and Jane Smith, a tech support consultant, sharing a dull phase in their marriage during marriage counseling. They can't remember how long they have been married. Together for around 5 or 6 years, the couple faces questions about their sex life and the overall status of their relationship. Upon the consular question about how they first met, they reflect on how they first encountered Bogota, Colombia. Although both were traveling alone, they pretended to be a couple to avoid authorities' inquiries due to a murder investigation, and the complexities of their journey unfold. Despite their initial romantic connection, they fell in love after the first few meetings and decided to get married. In the present day, the couple finds themselves in a communication rut, attempting but failing to engage in meaningful conversations. Seeking guidance, after a few days, John visits the counselor alone, expressing his love for Jane while acknowledging the challenges in their marriage. Simultaneously, Jane tells the counselor that we both have secrets that we don't want to share. In truth, both John and Jane are highly skilled operatives working for separate contract-killing firms, concealing their true professions from one another. They are both among the best in their field and adept at concealing their true profession from the other. As the narrative unfolds, the movie explores the complicated balance between personal relationships and hidden professional lives. The Smiths live in a large colonial revival house in the New York suburbs, keeping up appearances by reluctantly socializing with their conventionally wealthy neighbors. Despite appearances, John and Jane deal with the dullness and suffocation of their seemingly ordinary marriage. As both work as hired assassins, they lead double lives as secret agents, attending neighborhood gatherings separately to preserve their covert personas. Their home conceals hidden guns and tools, each spouse unaware of the other's undercover activities. John, using his Smith engineering firm as a cover, performs most of his tasks for this company. One day he receives a mysterious call at work. His handler instructs him to eliminate DIA prisoner Benjamin, also known as the Tank, during a prison transfer due to noticed threats to their organization. Simultaneously, Jane is assigned the same target, unraveling a complex web of intelligence within the Smith family. Jane strategically places explosives along the convoy's route, intending to detonate them as the cars pass specific points. Unexpectedly, John arrives on the scene in a Jeep with volume-up music, his face unfamiliar to her, leading her to mistake him for a civilian. Suspecting a threat, she shoots at him, only to discover he's armed and resilient. Before she can identify him, the convoy reaches the trap zone. John reacts by firing at her hideout, setting off the explosives and destroying everything. Jane manages to run away on a bike, while John, inspecting the aftermath, finds only a laptop. Returning to the office, John tells his best friend Eddie that a woman disrupted his mission. Eddie teases John that his mission was compromised by a girl. Simultaneously, Jane receives a call from her boss, instructing her to locate and eliminate the civilian responsible for ruining her mission, or otherwise she loses her job. John examines the laptop with the help of a colleague, Gwen. After a brief inspection, Gwen discovered an address in a New York building. In an attempt to find out who ruined his mission, John decides to visit the address. Upon reaching the site, he sees that the building is highly secure and no one can enter without a security authorization. Contemplating a plan, he stumbles upon a label exposing Jane's office and finds out that she is not what she used to be. Simultaneously, Jane uncovers the truth about John through video footage of the incident. John calls her office to see if anything unusual, but Jane doesn't disclose anything. John called her assistant to ask her about the dinner time, and Jane said 7 o'clock. At night, both get doubtful during the dinner and stay alert while starting the dinner. An air of suspicion remains as they carefully share a meal. John questions himself in his mind if the food is poisoned or not, but when he sees Jane is eating, as well he starts the meal. They discussed while dining which both questioned each other's work. Jane says that she is having a little trouble with the commission, double booking with another firm, she quoted. To which John replies, "You'll sort things out." When Jane asks about John's work, he says, "Had a few problems ourselves, some figures don't add up, big deal, life or death." Heightened by each other's behavior, they become suspicious, suspecting a potential mission to kill one another. John brings in a gun to attack her, but Jane takes the car and drives away. Both want to attack each other, so when he spots the car, she tries to run the car over him, but he saves himself. Jane blamed herself for wasting her married life, with someone who was also a killer, and this was bad for her career too. John, on the other hand, keeps asking her, "We need to talk." Their tension was so high, they thought one of them was trying to kill the other, but John just wanted to have a discussion. Seeking advice, John confides in Eddie about his distrust. Simultaneously, Jane discusses the situation with her friend, who suggests killing her husband. Both decide to kill each other the next morning, with John sleeping at Eddie's and Jane at her office. Afraid of his next move in the morning, Jane's team searches for clues at the house, and her team tears up everything. Upon arrival, John discovers Jane taking her tools and guns. Attempting a conversation, John heads to Jane's office, but she anticipates his move, leaving him with a bomb. Surviving the blast, John finds a clue to her new office, but Jane, a step ahead, detonates the elevator he's in. John survives, and they both are now assigned to kill each other. As attempts on their lives increase, the scene shifts to Jane alone in a hotel, tearfully contemplating her husband. Surprisingly, John appears, expressing the need for a divorce. Despite the tension, they share a dance in the hotel. Jane, leaving a mini-bomb behind, returns home. Aware of Jane's true identity, John now calls her and asks her if she loves him or not. The Smiths' battle ends in a destructive shootout at home. Facing each other, guns drawn, in a prolonged and evenly matched fight, they point guns at each other's heads. John professes his love and lowers his gun. Similarly, Jane finds herself unable to shoot John. John and Jane decide not to harm one another. Instead, they share a kiss and end up spending the night together. Their renewed relationship faces a new threat as their employers unite to eliminate the couple. Eddie, John's close friend and colleague, rejects a $400,000 bounty on both their heads. Between their conversations, a mini grenade ambushes them. Ready to counter, John drops a surprise as they are assigned to eliminate each other within 48 hours. Jane reveals she got the same task. Their home is destroyed, and the Smiths escape in a stolen minivan, dodging pursuing armored sedans. They quarrel about their fighting styles and personal secrets they have discovered about each other. John confesses he never attended MIT, he majored in history, and he doesn't like her cooking. Jane confesses she never cooks, hiring someone instead. Switching seats, they continue to reveal secrets, criticize, and destroy the hunters. Reaching Eddie, they decide to reclaim their marriage. Eddie discloses that their companies are targeting them, advising separation for safety. To save their marriage, Mr. and Mrs. Smith choose to kidnap Benjamin and use him as a bargaining tool with their respective employers. Learning that Benjamin was just bait, an intern planted by their employers after discovering their marriage, the Smiths decide to free him from his high-security confinement. John successfully kidnaps Benjamin, and they interrogate him about the company's motive to eliminate them. Benjamin replies that both companies found out that they were married, so they jointly hired each other to kill each other. Because two competing agents can't live under the same roof as it is against their interest. Discovering Benjamin as mere bait, John finds a tracker in his belt before facing another company attack. In hiding, John chooses to confront them, making a last stand inside a home decorating store. The couple, discarding contingency plans, fights off armed operatives in a showdown. The couple fights together, defeating all attackers. Later, they revisit the marriage counselor, expressing that despite challenges, their marriage is flourishing. The film ends with the Smiths sharing their success, even playfully addressing the counselor's questions about their sex life.